The sound of my phone ringing was like a siren announcing an imminent disaster. On the screen, the word Mom. I took a deep breath and answered. Julia, darling, just confirming, are you bringing a +1 to your sister's wedding, right? Aunt Monica is bringing her doctor's son. Such a nice boy. And there it was, my family's annual assault on my single life. This time with my sister's wedding as the backdrop. I was a successful lawyer, but to my family, I was an unsolved romantic charity case. That night, I vented to my best friend, Maya, at our usual bar. I can't take it anymore, I groaned after telling her about my mom's latest offensive. I just want one weekend of peace to celebrate with my sister without an interrogation about my love life. Maya, a free-spirited artist with a mischievous glint in her eyes, smiled. So solve the problem. Take a date. I rolled my eyes, and where am I supposed to rent a boyfriend in 48 hours? Her smile widened, a slow, dangerous smile I knew all too well. You don't need a boyfriend, she said. You need a girlfriend. I stared at her, confused. Take me, she continued, laughing at my shocked expression. Think about it, Ju. It's perfect. Your family loves me. They'd never suspect a thing. They'd be so happy for you, they wouldn't even ask questions. Total peace. The idea was absurd. It was insane, and it was absolutely brilliant. It would just be a performance, a little white lie to survive a weekend. What could possibly go wrong? Deal, I said. We have an agreement.
The country hotel where the wedding was taking place was stunning. We arrived in my car and I was visibly tense, rehearsing our love story for the 10th time. I, on the other hand, was loving the chaos. Relax, Ju, I said, giving her a comforting squeeze of the hand. Acting is my specialty. You're the lawyer. Just follow my script. No sooner had we gotten out of the car than my family surrounded us. My mother, my father, and of course, my Aunt Monica, whose gossip radar is more advanced than NASA's. It was now or never. Mom, Dad, Auntie, Julia began, her voice surprisingly steady. I want you to meet Maya. She paused, looking at me. I gave her my warmest smile and took her hand. My girlfriend. The silence that followed was deafening. The three of them looked from our joined hands to our faces, their brains processing the information. Then my mother's face broke into the biggest smile I had ever seen. Oh, my darling! Finally! I knew it! She exclaimed, hugging us both. The plan was working. A little too well. But for how long? Asked Aunt Monica, her eyes gleaming with curiosity. How did this happen right under our noses? Julia panicked for a second, her eyes pleading with me for help. I took control. Oh, Aunt Monica, it was a slow burn, I began, inventing a charming story about how our years-long friendship had blossomed into something more. It was believable because the foundation was real. The only thing I was changing was the type of love. My family listened, completely captivated. Later, alone in our room, Julia closed the door and leaned against it, taking a deep breath. They bought all of it, she said, a mix of relief and panic. I know, I replied, laughing. The rehearsal dinner was the real test. I sat next to Maya, my hand on hers on the table, a gesture that now felt strangely natural. My family was enchanted. Maya, with her artist's charm, won everyone over, telling funny stories about our long friendship that, with a wink to me, she recontextualized as the beginning of our romance. And I saw her in a way I never had before, not as my loyal and slightly chaotic best friend, but through my family's eyes, a confident, beautiful, and captivating woman. Tell us about your first date, my mother asked, her eyes shining. I froze. My lawyer's mind hadn't prepared that part of the case, but Maya laughed, a melodic sound. It was on a rainy day, she began. Julia was having a terrible day at work, and I dragged her to a small art gallery. There was a painting of a storm at sea. I said it was like her mind before coffee. She said I was too poetic. She looked at me, and in the end, she smiled. That real smile of hers, and I just knew. The story was so beautifully told, woven with pieces of our truth, that even I was moved. I looked at Maya, and for an instant, I forgot we were acting. Later, we found a moment of peace in the garden. "You were incredible in there," I said, my voice softer than intended. "You almost convinced me." Maya turned to me, her playful smile softening. "And who said it was all a lie, Jew?" she whispered, before winking and heading back to the party. I stood there, my heart beat. The wedding reception was in full swing. My sister and her new husband seemed to float with happiness. Maya and I kept up our performance, laughing and talking with guests, our hands intertwined. But something had changed since the night before. Every touch seemed to carry a new weight. Every glance lasted a second too long. We were acting, but the emotion beneath the surface was dangerously real. Then, the band began to play a slow, romantic song. Couples filled the dance floor. My mother looked at us with an expectant smile. We were trapped. "I believe that's our cue," Maya whispered in my ear, her voice sending a shiver down my spine. She led me to the dance floor. At first, it was awkward. I, the lawyer, felt stiff and clumsy. But Maya, the artist, moved with a fluid grace, guiding me gently. Her hand was warm on my waist, the other holding mine firmly. The proximity was overwhelming, an intimacy we had never shared in all our years of friendship. I tried to remember that it was an act, a scene for our audience. But then she looked at me, and in the middle of that crowded room, the world disappeared. There were only her eyes, warm and full of an emotion I had never seen before. I forgot about my family, the contract, the lie. My heart was pounding, not from nervousness, but from something else. I leaned in closer, my body moving of its own accord. This moment wasn't fake. It was the most real thing I had felt in years. The song ended, breaking the spell. We pulled apart abruptly, both of us blushing. After the dance, the air between us was thick with unspoken words. We couldn't go back to being characters. Needing to escape, I mumbled an excuse and fled to the quiet of a terrace overlooking the garden. The cool night air was a relief on my burning skin. A few minutes later, I heard footsteps. It was Maya. She stood beside me, not touching, looking at the stars. "Ju, are you okay?" she asked softly. I hugged myself, trying to reassemble my lawyerly facade. "I'm fine. It was just the champagne, the music. I got carried away with the role." I lied, but my voice came out shaky. Maya was silent for a moment. "Was that all it was?" she asked, her voice so serious it made me look at her. Because for me, it didn't feel like it. Her honesty disarmed me. The dam I had built around my heart gave way. "No," I whispered, finally admitting it. "That wasn't all. That felt real." The words came out, scary and liberating. "Seeing you with my family, seeing how everyone adores you, I saw you, Maya. Really saw you. And it scares me. It scares me because I can't lose my best friend." A tear ran down my face, and Maya reached out and gently wiped it away. "Ju," she began, her own voice thick with emotion. "How long do you think you've been just my best friend?" Her confession hung in the air, recontextualizing years of our history in a single instant. The desperate pact, her readiness to help, it hadn't just been for friendship, it had been for hope. Our fake agreement unearthed the deepest and most terrifying truth of all. Our feelings were real. The problem was no longer about deceiving my family. It was the fear in my question, and now, hung between us. Risking the most important friendship of my life for something I didn't even fully understand was the scariest thing I had ever faced. Maya saw the panic in my eyes and smiled, a tender smile. "Now?" she repeated softly. "Now we figure it out. Together. Like we always have." Her words were an anchor in the middle of my storm. Together. It was the only thing that made sense. I smiled back, a genuine, trembling smile. "Okay," I whispered. "Together." I reached for her hand and laced my fingers through hers. This time, there was no performance. It was a promise. We walked back to the party, hand in hand. The difference was subtle to most, but to us, it was monumental. The awkwardness was gone, replaced by a calm and a certainty I had never felt. We no longer needed to act. We were just being. Across the hall, my sister, the bride, saw us. She looked at our joined hands, then at our faces, and a smile of pure understanding and happiness lit up her face. She knew, and she was happy for us. Later, as the party was ending, we found ourselves in the quiet garden again, under a sky full of stars. "Our agreement is over," I said, looking at her. Maya smiled. "And now?" Her question wasn't scary anymore. It was exciting. Instead of answering, I leaned in and kissed her. Our first real kiss with no rules, no lies, no fear. It was a kiss that sealed